I've developed all sorts of injury problems, including 2 knee surgeries, and I'm en route to getting my 3rd knee surgery, a microfracture surgery on my left knee that I sustained because, you know, it comes full circle. But as John says, I went from not doing any running to deciding I wanted to get back into it again. I wanted to win the Irish National Cross Country Championship, so I embarked on this 14-week, very intense training program that involved. Well, let me backtrack a little bit with the cross training piece that keeps you fit. I cross trained like a madman last year, and I was too fit coming off cross training, if that makes sense, because I came off cross training with this huge base from the bike. I was doing 18, 20 hours a week cross training, and I was just super fit, but my legs weren't able to run. But so basically, it's like the fitness was ahead of where I was physically. So I got myself in just superb shape. I was loving life. You know, last February I was on top of the world because I couldn't believe how fit I was off such a small amount of training. Got to the Irish National Cross Country Championships, won, was really happy, really pleased, you know, back in the game, go to Amman, Jordan to run the World Cross Country Championships, and woke up next day and literally couldn't walk. And like, okay, that's probably not too good, right? You know, I mean, you wake up sore, but you don't wake up where you feel out of bed and your leg goes. But what happened was during the race, at some point, I dislodged the remaining piece of cartilage that's on the inside of my knee, and developed a stress fracture on the head of my femur. And in order to fix it, I have to get some little microfracture surgery in the head of the femur to create some new cartilage and to try and rescue my career. So, yeah, it doesn't work, you know. But cross training, although it keeps you fit, you must also remember that your body's not as fit as your cardiovascular system. So cross training keeps the weight off, keeps the heart and lungs in great shape, because your heart doesn't know the difference between running and biking and running and swimming. It's still working to provide energy. And your fuel intake doesn't know the difference. But what does know the difference is your joints and knees. When you go from riding a bike, or go from running, or go from elliptical to running, it's a huge adaptation period for your body. And you know, I have no patience, which has been a big problem for me in my career. And I had no patience this year at 31 years old, and got myself in a very bad injury state. So that's that's a snapshot of what it's like. In between all that, there's a lot of tough times, there's a lot of highs and lows, but there's a lot of great times in running, where you're racing Europe and you're racing the track under floodlights, and it's like, this is fantastic. I don't want to be anywhere else. You race, you know, great mile races. You go and do some cross country races, some road racing. I got to meet everyone from Lance Armstrong to Willie Nelson. I mean, everybody. You got to be friends with people like Paula Radcliffe, who's world record holder in the marathon for women. You get to know, you get to know all these people, and you get to meet your rivals later in life, all because of this very simple sport of running. And you know, we overcomplicate running, we think too much about it. I know I do, and if you guys are very, very motivated and enthusiastic, you guys probably do too. And as coaches, you know, we read so much, there's so much information out there. But Ray Tracy, the reason why I respect you guys so much is very simple. Running's not complicated. If you look at the Africans, the reason why they're so good, aside from the altitude and the fact that they were raised running barefoot and they're very, very strong, and they don't eat lots of terrible food and lots of sugar and lots of high-fat food. The reason why they're very good is because they just run for the purity of running. They love racing, they love competition. It's very pure, it's very traditional. And a lot of that's been lost. So if you want to be a good runner, you listen to your coach, you eat well, you eat a good balanced diet. You don't deprive yourself of things you really enjoy. You know, it's interesting that you read that article about, you know, my girlfriend works in weight loss, for the weight loss, weight control and diabetes research center, and they preach this low calorie diet. You don't need to exercise, you just need to have, you know, very few calories in your diet. Well, the benefits of exercise extend more to weight loss. You know, the benefits of exercise are just overall wholesome feeling. I mean, who doesn't go home after a great workout and just feel amazing and enjoy it bowl of ice cream whilst watching TV. And I know I do, I still do, and I know other athletes that do. I know some of the best runners in the world that after a very, very tough long run on a Sunday morning up in Boulder, Colorado, they stop off at the diner on the way home and they have a stack of pancakes covered in butter and syrup and you know, a frappuccino drink at 500 calories, because to them that's part of the reward of training hard. So you don't deprive yourself. You listen to your coach, you eat a balanced diet, you stretch but you don't overstretch, and you do some core work, but you don't be a slave to core work. You never be a slave to your training. I was a slave to my training. Believe me, I was to the point where I'd wake up and I'd know, and this happened, I knew I was developing a stress fracture back in 2003, I believe it was. I was getting ready to run the Manchester Road Race on Thanksgiving Day. I was getting an appearance fee of $1,000. So I was getting $1,000 to run before I even had to finish. So this is amazing. You know, when you're a professional athlete, you need to get paid. And I knew I was getting a stress fracture because I felt the hot spot, the pain in my shin. And on the schedule that day was a 13-mile hilly run hard. So what should I have done is I should have went to the therapist, got ice, taken a week off. I would have been fine. What did I do? I put on the shoes and went out and ran very, very hard, 13 miles, only to get done, cool down, and then suddenly not be able to walk on my shin, get an MRI, have to fork out the money for this. So go from about to get paid quite a good chunk of change to losing money and missing 12 weeks because of stress fracture. So take a day off, take a week off if you need to take a week off and let your body recover. But don't, let yourself slide too much, because that just makes the comeback a lot harder. So, you listen to the coach, balance everything, and then you enjoy it. You set a goal and you enjoy trying to achieve the goal. Whatever it is, if it's just to make the team, if it's just to go through a season, if it's to get fit in the fall by running cross country, which is the best thing in the world, just so you can have a good soccer season in the spring and be much faster and fitter than the other girls or guys you're playing with. If it's to get to college, if it's to get a scholarship and save your parents hundreds of thousands of dollars right now, if it's just to be healthy and look good, it has to be enjoyable. You have to have a good relationship with your teammates, you have to have a good relationship with your coach, and hopefully the journey can lead to whatever it is. If it's a job, which it has for me, because running in turn has got me this job. When I went to try and get a deal with Reebok for running, I realized, the running dream is not over, but I can't represent a company anymore because I'm just under too much pressure. But I'd love to work in the industry, so now I work in the industry. And it, in turn, gets you to meet great people and gets you up places up here in Maine, and you're talking to people with the experience. So running is fantastic. It opens so many doors, but you must enjoy it and not overthink it. And be consistent, be focused, set goals, enjoy it, and hopefully it will lead to some great things for you all. So that's basically all I have to say, but I'd love to take some questions, and any specific questions regarding running or training methods that I've seen or used over the years. I can need an interpreter. John said he would interpret my accent if I had any issues with what I was saying.
I guess I was wrong.
You talked about that race that you won and how you fell back. Can you talk about overcoming the demons or overcoming a rough patch in a race? In a lot of races you get that rough patch and it doesn't mean your race is over. How do you dig deep and what mental tricks do you use?
Good. I mean, it's hard for everybody because everybody has different pain thresholds. Everybody has different levels of hunger. So what's your desire? Are you racing because you just want to race and you want to enjoy it, or are you racing because you want to be the best you can be? So that was one of many situations in my career where I lost focus. For the higher the level you get, the more important focus is. If you lose focus for a second, a gap, there was a meter turns into 20 meters very quickly, and before you realize it, you're like, I'm 20 meters down, and now I'm in trouble. So in that one race, they broke away. I lost focus because I was, had been leading for so long, and I was just stuck in one pace. And we came around a corner and we went into a headwind, and they were from me to you away.